Hey guys, so today we have a 2022 ZX-10R on the dyno and we are going to test air filters. Now we have three different filters all in all that we're going to show you. We have an OEM air filter that is inside the bike currently. Then we're going to test a Sprint P08 air filter. And then we are going to test a Sprint P08 F185. We happen to have these filters in stock. I asked the guy today, the client, I said, hey man, do you mind if we test your bike out? I got a couple of filters I'd love to test. And he said, yeah, sure, I don't care. So here we are, we're gonna make a video about it. The Sprint P08 is more like a street air filter, and the P08 F185 is more of a racing style. They allow a lot more airflow to come through the motor. Now, with the added airflow, you'll get a lot more dirt and dust that will sneak past the air filter and make its way inside your motor. So the Sprint P08 is more of a streetable option, especially if you're out riding your bike constantly. And you know, if you live in a dusty or dirty style environment, definitely recommend something with a little bit better filtration. But anyways, again, for numbers and for dyno's sake, I figured this would be kind of a cool video. So here we are. I'm gonna show you a little bit of the bike real quick. This bike does have an SC Project style exhaust. It is cat, it does have a cat delete. So no more catalytic converter. It's located right here on the ZX-10, so that's taken off. This is a good straight through system, pretty solid. This looks like almost like a 3-inch style, if I'm not mistaken. Very open, little packing. It's gonna be very loud. It should also make a good amount of power. So I'm gonna check the oil real quick. Oil looks good, okay. So what we're gonna do though is, again, we're just gonna test this bad boy out. We're gonna see what it makes with the stock air filter in it, and with this exhaust, we're going to baseline it real quick, and then we're gonna run, we're gonna do the flash and tune. We're gonna do a full-on dyno tune and everything. And after the dyno tune, we are going to swap the air filters out one after another. So we're getting very, very, very accurate numbers because we're gonna test them the same day and within minutes of each pulls. So that way there's no discrepancies, there's no, it's all strapped down with the same pressure. It's got the same tire pressure, like we're not changing anything but the air filters, and we're gonna see how it reacts. And then we'll overlay the graphs. So that way you guys can actually see the real numbers in real time. So there's no fluff, I'm not promoting anything. I'm just gonna show you the real data. And again, these are dyno numbers, okay? I'm not gonna have any street data. I'm not gonna have any mile an hour data. I can't account for like ram air and things like that. All I wanna show you is just the dyno so that you can see what the differences are with the dyno, okay? With horsepower numbers, because that all is gonna be consistent. All those fans, they all blow consistent airflow. So it's not, again, we're not changing any variables except for the air filters by themselves, okay? As a scientific study, we want everything else to remain constant except for the one thing we're testing, which is gonna be the air filters. So what I'll show you guys also, Lewis was sitting here hooking everything up for me. On the ECU is located back here on these new Gen, well, some say Gen 6, some say Gen 7s, but on the new 2022 ZX-10s, and actually it's 2021 and newer, the ECUs are located in the back, and they have this new style connectors than the older ones. They had to all go to these Euro 5 emissions, so they all changed their electronics, all the newer bikes. So what we did though is we're hooking up to the ground coil wire. So we find the negative side, the ground side of your coils, and that's what gives us the RPM and torque readout. There's a mathematical formula that DynoJet has in their program, and it gives us RPM, and it also calculates wheel torque for us as well. So, and then the drum is what's reading our speed, our horsepower. Speed and horsepower is coming off the drum, and then we have the sniffer and the tailpipe, and that's what's giving us our air-fuel ratios. I'm gonna have a whole dedicated video of showing you how to hook a bike up on a dyno and how we do it. That's another day, but it's another interesting video I think you guys will enjoy. Comment down below and tell me what you think it's gonna make on the baseline and what it'll do on the final runs. I think it'll be very, 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 very interesting to see what you guys think, what the numbers are gonna be on this dyno. So here we go, we're gonna baseline it now. Let's see what it does. we just got done running the 2022 ZX-10R. We have the dyno graphs. I'm gonna overlay them all at the end, but we are at 189 rear wheel horsepower with the stock air filter and just the SC Project slip-on exhaust. So take a look at this though. Here is the OEM air filter. This thing is filthy, which happens over time whenever you're driving. Like I said, it's the environment that you drive in that will determine how much kind of gunk it's going to pick up. But this is kind of a normal thing that I see, a very clogged up stock air filter. It's got a lot of dirt in here. And then take a look at this. This is on every air filter OEM. You have this screen that basically comes on it as well, just again as added protection to keep stuff out of your airbox. This is a big restriction, and if you don't opt to get an air filter, usually what we do is we take this screen off so it flows a lot better for a stock filter. I just wanted to show you something kind of cool here. So look at this. We're holding it up to the light, and obviously you can't really see my fingers behind it. You can't see anything behind this air filter at all, which kind of go figure kind of thing. So here's the Sprint P08 air filter. This is just the standard P08. So here's my hand. You can kind of see the outline, but you can't really see any specific details. You can see a little bit of my glove, but you see it's a little foggy still, but you can definitely see the outline of my hand, which is gonna flow a ton better. And then here is the Sprint P08 F185. So here is vivid detail on my gloves. You can clearly see straight through it. And this is what I was getting at with, it's gonna allow a lot more dirt and debris and stuff to come through it. However, it's gonna flow a lot more air. Thus, it should increase horsepower. So we're gonna start with the Sprint P08. We're gonna throw this one in the bike first. And again, I'm not gonna make any changes to the tune, so we're gonna be fair about it. And the bike is dialed in, the air fuel, everything looks solid on it. Again, I'll kind of overlay all the graphs at the end, but I just wanted to give you a rough idea. We're going to just install this, lower the tank, and then we're gonna go ahead and fire it up, get it warmed up again, and then run through the gears, see what it does for power, do a direct overlay, and then we're gonna go ahead and pull this one out and then put the Sprint P08 F185 in, and again, do the same thing, run it, overlay the graphs, and we're gonna compare all the graphs and see what the power differences are. So it's pretty excited actually. Curious, very curious to see what it's gonna do. All right guys, so we finally finished the 2022 ZX-10R with the Sprint air filter comparison. We have the final numbers, very interesting, and this is kind of what I expected to see and what I was hoping for. So if you look here, we have a baseline of 164, almost 165 rear wheel horsepower with 74 foot-pounds of torque, and that's going to be our yellow line down here. You can clearly see how low it is. Now, this yellow line is a stock air filter with the SC Project slip-on exhaust, and that's it, okay? So when we dynoed it, we tuned it, we came up to this green line, and now it's kind of hard to see because we overlaid and all of them pretty much overlay each other. So this green line with the stock air filter, we ended up making 189 rear wheel horsepower with 79 foot-pounds of torque. And then we swapped it out. Within minutes, we put the Sprint P08 air filter in, which is the street style one. And we ended up picking up an additional almost 2 wheel at peak power here. So we're at 191. And we lost a bit of torque, but it's very equivalent. Very, very, very similar torque with 79 foot-pounds of torque again. Then we proceeded to put the Sprint P08 F185 air filter in, and we ended up pulling another horsepower, 1 wheel horsepower out of it, and we picked the torque back up. So we ended up with 192 for our final number and 79.86 wheel torque. And throughout the power band, we gain about 1 horsepower to a half a horsepower, all in all, between the Sprint P08 and the P08 F185. Here we actually, 1 wheel, and in the Sprint, we made 88. So yeah, I mean, stock was 88, then 88.5, then 89.5. So yeah, I mean, it was solid gains. Like I said, it was kind of what I expected. Up top, we actually gained the most horsepower, 187 versus 190 with the Sprint P08 F185 in here. So needless to say, the Sprints did gain our peak power. We did pull it up just a smidge. Now, we kept it as close as possible as far as the controlled environment. We kept the straps the same tension. We didn't touch anything on like the chain or sprockets. It's not like we re-lubed it or anything like that. We didn't do any kind of oil changes. Literally, the temperatures were very identical. In fact, what we can do here is we can pull up our conditions. And if you look here, yeah, if you don't mind getting close into here, if you look here, look how close our conditions were. 91 degrees, 91 degrees, 91 degrees, humidity 48%, 48%, 49% near the end. And again, the rest of it, here we are. So very, very, very similar atmosphere, atmospheric, what am I trying to say? Not pressure.
Very sweaty atmosphere.
Yeah, very hot, very crappy Florida environment. As you can see, it's very consistent, I should say that. The environment is very similar. I wanted to get it as realistic as possible for you guys, and again, as consistent as possible. We're not trying to skew the numbers. Nobody's paying us. We're not getting paid for any of these products. We're not advertising them. We're just simply testing them and showing you guys the results, okay? There's no favoritism here. So again, I wanted to show you the real results. This is realistically what you can expect now whenever you're ordering or looking to do a Sprint P08 or a P08 F185. Now you can see the difference. What that relates to on the street and stuff like that, I don't know. All I can tell you is this is what we got. These are our dyno results, okay? So again, when you factor in ram air and some of these other loads and things like that with the airflow, I can't simulate 130 plus mile an hour winds. You know, this is like 35 mile an hour winds. So again, things like that I can't really account for on this dyno. We just wanted to bring you real data. I'm glad you guys could see this. It was very entertaining to me. Let me know what you think about this. Comment down below. I'm very curious to see what you have to say. If you guys want us to test anything else out, let us know. We got a couple of bikes that we have now that we bought for shop bikes, so we're gonna start testing some of these other things out on our personal bikes. So therefore, you know, again, we can get you guys some more data. It'll be really cool to get you guys some different results. Thank you for following the channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for doing all of the stuff. We really appreciate it. Your support goes a long way. We just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, and it happened, it feels like overnight, even though it's been a lot of hours and a lot of hard work. I appreciate you guys. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you on another episode.